Hello, good afternoon, you guys. Good afternoon, you guys. Hey, Blue Rain, how are you? How y'all doing today? So, as promised, I am back with the next tarot card of the day, which is the Magician. Okay, so I was going to say get out your pen and paper to take notes, but this is a video, so you'll be able to come back and reference it whenever you need to. Okay. So I am Tarot Queen Jamila, aka High Priestess Jamila. Hello, how are you guys? Using the legacy of the divine today. So this is the Magician. I love this illustration of the Magician. I love it. Because as you can see, this person is practicing alchemy. And when you look at the illustration, everything is coming from this person's mind. Okay, you can see that the power is coming from the mind. You can see earth, air, fire, and water down here, which is where there's alchemy. And then right here, it looks like it could be planet Earth, but it looks like it's one of those electronic balls that, like, you touch it and the, electricity kind of attracts to your hands. And so that's the reason why this person's hands are showing. Okay. Now, there was some specific messages that the spirit had about the magician. And the first card that came up is the 5 of coins. So what this says to me is that the magician does not have money problems because they are well connected with their spirits, well connected with themselves, and they just don't have money problems. They have confidence. Okay, they have confidence. They speak what they want into existence, and it happens. Okay, they speak what they want into existence, and it happens. Very confident. Okay. They are also very well balanced. They have peace of mind, right? If you're a magician, you control your mind, your body, and your spirit. No one else can control you. Okay. It's about self-mastery. Also, the magician knows thyself. They're able to do inner work. They're able to see an obstacle and they can see what they need to do within themselves to change the situation around. Now, also, I will tell you that having control of yourself and not being controlled by others is very challenging. And a lot of people can't do that. A lot of people. To be honest with you, a lot of coins cards came up. And so magicians and people that want control of themselves, okay, and their environment, they're under scrutiny. They are. They're under scrutiny. And a lot of you guys at the moment, and maybe, at other times, because this is, timeless. This reading is timeless. What's up, Goddess Queen? Hello. They're at peace. They have peace and harmony and tranquility within themselves. And they can find that place by themselves. They're not codependent on anybody. Okay, now I am a solitary practitioner. So in all fairness, that's from my standpoint and point of view. But in reality, if you have somebody that needs a bunch of, some kind of, they need it, they need other people, then you're not a magician. Okay. Also, magicians, they can tap into their money. They can tap into the money that is connected to their bloodline, and they can manifest it because the manifestation card came up. And they don't allow people to control their mind. They're always conscious. They're always consciously aware. And it's a huge, because now that we're going into the age of Aquarius, there's this huge need to control the mind and the energies of other people. The magician does not allow others to control their mind. They don't. Two of Swords comes up. That was the final card. I threw out 10 cards. I wanted guidance on this because I felt like spirits had like specific stuff that they wanted to say. And I use the cards as guides, just like some people use rocks, some people use bones. Okay, these are things that you can touch, you can see, and you can feel. Okay, so the magician is not going to be controlled by others. They're not. They're going to be in their consciousness, and they're not going to allow their subconscious fears to afflict them. And when you're trying to manipulate them, they know it. They know when they're being manipulated. Even if you go through an issue where you need to go and you need to take a break and you need to connect with your whole self, okay, because it's all a learning experience. Eventually, as a magician, you have to learn to not allow people to control your subconscious. You have to learn to not allow your inner child to control your subconscious, but rather to guide you. Because there's a lot of people that are just in stitches because of their childhood, because of their inner child. So the magician knows how to deal with inner pain and their inner child, and they don't have to reflect it out to others. Okay. They just, because they're constantly within their spirit. They don't have to reflect. They don't have to, for example, you guys know I was talking about these witches on here, right? And a lot of them are not actually magicians because they are so focused on other people. They're afraid. The magician is not afraid. There's no fear when it comes to being a magician, okay? The magician is very, very stable. They are very, very stable. Other magicians are not able to put energy off on them because they know it, especially when they have the prior knowledge. If somebody tells you, well, I can see this person doing work on you, and then you go, oh, okay, yeah, you're right. Somebody else is doing work on me. But then you go and you fall right into their trap. So you got some work to do, because that's all you're doing is falling into somebody else's trap. And the person who's trying to trap you, they're actually weaker than you, but they've convinced you somehow that they're more powerful, and they're actually not. Thank you, John. So you can't keep allowing people to talk you out of your energy. You can't keep allowing people to manipulate your love life, to manipulate your money, okay? To manipulate anything, your thoughts, your feelings. Nobody should be able to manipulate that if you know what you're doing, if you have mastered self. And so that is what the Hermit is about. We're going to go over the Hermit very soon, because I'm getting through the major arcanas, and we're going to go all the way down to the last card of the deck, but we're going to start with all of the major arcanas in order. Yeah. It is important to heal your wounds from your past childhood, because people will use that against you. Mainly the wounds from your childhood are causing insecurity. And insecurity is a horrible thing, because if you're walking within your insecurity, then you're not walking with yourself. You're walking within another magician's intent on you. And you have to be able to recognize it. See, a lot of people are not able to recognize when a magician has been having an impact on them. They're not able to recognize that. So it takes them totally out of their element. They feel self-conscious. They got to go around and cuss folks out and da 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 da. Well, when you're confident and you know what you're doing, you don't have to do that. You don't. You just exist. But you're not just existing, but all of those complications, in particular money problems, because there's a lot of people. I've actually had a magician contact me and say, "Oh, you're messing up my money." If you were really a magician, nobody would be able to mess with your money. Nobody. Except for you. It all comes from within. You can't blame. Also, another thing, a magician can admit to their mistakes. You know, the hermit is about admitting to your mistakes. That's basically what sums up the hermit. The hermit is about admitting to your mistakes and taking responsibility for those mistakes that you made and not allowing others. Whenever there's some negative energy that's being thrown at you, especially in particular the 5 of coins, because I've got people that were supposed to be spiritualists and magicians for like their whole life. And they, they're feeling some type of way about me. But the reason why is because they can't do that inner reflection. You have to be able to look at yourself and say, what am I doing? It's all a lesson. It's all a lesson. Thank you, John. Right. You got to warrior up and stand in your power so no one can try to pull the wool over your eyes. Then you can see right through any magic, BS anyone try to throw your way. Because I'm just letting you guys know that everybody uses it, even the people that claim that they don't. Okay. And another thing is that when it comes to love, when it comes to love, you have to understand that everything comes from looking at yourself. All of your lovers are going to give you some kind of lesson about yourself. Okay? Because you attracted that person to you. You did. And they're gonna, whatever it is, whatever fault you see in them, it must be you. You have to look at yourself. But then again, I'm gonna tell y'all something. Manipulation is real. So you have to be able to decipher their energy and their thoughts from your thoughts as well. You have to be able to decipher that. Because, there's people that will implant thoughts in you. Okay. They've been doing it since you were born. There's people that are able to implant certain thoughts in you. And then when you come out in social media, you're constantly manifesting these thoughts by the conversations that you're having and the things that you're saying. And even though you can't see it, everybody else can see it. And the people that don't want you to see it and don't want you to tell the truth, they are manipulating you because they don't want you to see the error to your ways. Because as soon as you see that, you're going to be able to live a better life. You're going to be able to manifest what you want. And then also a lot of people, when you at the crossroads, you have to be able to make a good decision. Because some people are making bad decisions, very, very bad decisions. And then also there's a lot of people that are having trouble parting ways with those people that are bad for you. These are people that are gonna keep you hemmed up. Okay, these are the people that are gonna keep you up. And you see, also you can tell that money is slipping out of the hanging man's hands. Okay, so this has a lot to do with your money. Money is not necessarily about having a college degree. Money is not necessarily about who you know, but it's about what you know about yourself. Right. There are people that are afraid to be alone for 5 minutes. They're very codependent. It's because they don't really like themselves. If you don't like yourself, then there's going to be a problem, and sometimes, especially when you see a bunch of people around you falling in love, and you're sitting there alone and you're thinking, well, why are all these people falling in love and then I can't experience that? And see, that's another mistake, because you have to look inward. You can't always go by that. Those people are supposed to inspire you, okay? But there are some people that need to learn how to spend some time alone, okay? Because you're just going to continue to go through a cycle, especially if you're using witchcraft to try to grab somebody temporarily that as soon as the moon cycles, they're going to be gone. And then the next thing you know, oh, it's another letdown. They're there 1 minute, but then reality kicks in, and then you're still stuck with having to make yourself be a stronger person. And then also you need to grow within your spirit, which is why the 3 of Coins comes up. This is one of my favorite cards in the tarot deck, is the 3 of Coins, because the 3 of Coins represents growth within your total self. This is when you are also actively working on balancing out your mind, body, and spirit, your earth, air, fire, and water. Okay, and then spirit. So that's what the pentacle is about. Okay, but then again, it's also about growth and expansion. If you have not grown or expanded, there's clearly a problem. And looking on to others and saying, oh, I haven't grown or expanded because of this person, that's a big mistake. So this is what leads you to hold yourself back. You can't hold that person back, especially if it's another magician, because they can see you. See what I'm saying? They can see what you're doing. You're not moving in silence. I noticed that a lot of so-called magicians, they'll say, oh, I move in silence. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're not moving in silence. You are very, very loud and clear. People and everybody can see you. And it's really not their responsibility, except for your spirit guides, to help you see that. But for you to actually live within that and know that, and then that way, you're not doing things that are just weird. If like I said, if somebody is able to stop what you have going on, then, especially when it comes to money and finance, that's why a lot of coins cards came up in this reading. Okay. And the Hermit is going to tell you, you need to do you. You need to do you and stop trying to do or be somebody else. Because when you're trying to be somebody else, you're going to be right here every time with your hand out. Okay. Because a magician doesn't need to ask anybody for anything. It just comes to them. It just flows to them naturally. You don't have to ask anybody for anything. That's one of the reasons why I don't ask for donations on this channel. I never ask for donations because, and another thing is that a lot of people really don't have faith in their spirits. They say that, and then a lot of people are not actually connected to their spirits. And then, there's a lot of people that have gotten used to using someone else's energy to manifest, and that's a mistake. You're just going to have violence and turmoil because people are going to fight for their energy. People are going to fight for what's theirs. They're not going to, and really a magician is not even going to have to fight for it. The fight is already won. They already know that they have manifested that, and they're not worried about you. You're the one that, so when it comes to being a magician, that's a very, very big responsibility. And the occupation of a magician can either be to where you either going to be broke or you either going to be the 10 of coins. Which one are you going to do? Because the 10 of coins represents spiritual energy, things that may be passed down to you through your bloodline, things that might be passed down through you in spirit, through your spirit guides, through your essence, through your connection with self as it relates to the rest of the world. And then also being stable, not having those fears that don't make any sense. Nobody should be able to contact you and go, oh, well, I think this person is this. And then all of a sudden you're like, okay, I think that this person is this. Because every time you're going to continue to regress. So this is why a lot of these magicians that are on here, they're doing bad. They can't manifest what they want. That's one of the reasons why, because they haven't mastered themselves. They're so busy trying to master everybody else, but you left yourself out. Hello, it ain't about being selfish, but it's about self. Hey, Shilpa, shout out to India. Thanks for watching. Right, you don't have to force anything. You know what I'm saying? You don't, and like I said, doing your work at your altar and doing, because I got a bunch of spiritual work going on over there, okay? But you don't have to get upset about it. You don't have to be upset and feel like, oh, I can't leave the house and oh, I've got to, I'm feeling some type of way. No, nobody else is going to make you feel that way. Nobody else should be able to control how you feel. That comes from within yourself. You are in control of how you feel. And when a lot of people are able to self-reflect, because there's a lot of people that can't admit when they're wrong, and that's what's keeping you held up. A lot of people will have blind faith in something that is totally a fraud. And then when those people begin to get negatively affected by it, they turn even more negative. And I've already said that 99.9% of the problems in this world is because people cannot admit when they are wrong. And that is a big deal. And a magician did that to the point where you can't say, I was wrong for doing that. I apologize. I'm taking responsibility. Being a magician is about taking responsibility. Hello. Hey, S Banks, how are ya? See, I told you that you weren't blocked. It must be the other channels. I'll go live from my other channel and unblock you in a little bit. So, a lot of people want to be the magician. And being a magician is not about controlling a bunch of other blind mice. If you're leading the blind, then you're just as blind as those people that you lead. So you can't brag about controlling somebody that's probably dumber than you. And it's not dumb. It's not dumb. It's not that you're dumb, but they're just as powerless as you are. So why do you think that you're doing something just because you can control somebody that has not yet reached their full potential? So that's one of the reasons why I don't agree with, how you have how you can see somebody and they have a bunch of yes men around them. To see, that's weak. That's weak. You shouldn't have to have that. You should have that within yourself, within your own mind, within your own body, and within your own spirit. So that's nothing to brag about. Ooh, I was able to do this for a temporary time, and and be careful for magicians that do that, because if you go to the website, you will see that I did some work for somebody a few years ago, and this person had me do a breakup because it was another practitioner that took her man, and I did a breakup, and then I did a reunion, and he married her. I did the reunion and they got married. So a lot of people will want, and it took about 5 to 6 months for it to happen. But sometimes things that take longer are better. You see what I'm saying? It did take a little minute because he actually got this woman pregnant. She actually came, there was a pregnancy that happened. And so, yeah. And so, but they're still together. You know what I'm saying? Because this other woman tried to trap him with a baby. And, and so, yeah. But also, nobody should be able to cause you to go and have legal issues. Please understand that there are a lot of people that will try to put certain legal issues on people. I just recently had it happen. And instead of this person seeing the actual people that were leading that person to that, this person blamed it on me. And see, that's because I'm more powerful than those other people, but I have more power over myself. You see what I'm saying? So y'all got to start to figure that out and realize that, instead of thinking and quit taking stuff for granted. Too many people take stuff for granted, and you take your own life for granted. So if you having problems in the area of love or money, you have nobody to blame but yourself. Okay. And if you do have a magician that is powerful enough to block your money or block your love, then you have to know that you're powerful enough to remove it. And you got to quit waiting a long time. You got to do stuff quick. You can't let a bunch of time go by, because, you know, when you say, oh, I'm just going to walk away and I'm just not going to do that, because a lot of y'all walk away from y'all blessings. Y'all say, oh, I'm just not going to do that. I ain't got time for that. And it's not the right thing to always just walk away for, 6 or 7 months at a time. So I've got a lot of people, they'll come to me and they'll say, I'm in love with this person and I want to be back with this person. But they'll wait like 6 or 7 or 8, 9, 10, 11 months to do something about it. So it's going to take half the time. For example, if you have split up with somebody for 2 years, it might take a year to get things back together, because you let all that time go by. You let all that time, so time literally will stand still for a lot of people. You see what the hanging man is doing? You see the hourglass is just like this. That means that your time is standing still. That means that things are not moving and you have no one to blame but yourself. Okay, so that's why it has a clock in it. A lot of the hanging man cards will depict a picture of a clock. Okay, because in my opinion, time is something else, but time is a reality for people that have not mastered themselves. So this is why people will start to age very quickly. And especially if you in witchcraft, you got to be careful with that, because sometimes witchcraft can age you. And I'm talking about age you about 20 or 30 years. And then you sitting up there making excuses for it. But the reality is that you done aged about 20, 30 years because you ain't on the right path and your body is being torn down. So then a lot of people will say, well, screw the body. It doesn't matter anything and da, 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 da. And when you die, it doesn't matter, because you're going to move on to another body, or either you'll go somewhere, wherever it is that you want to go. However, your body is still your temple. And if things are falling apart, then who else do you have to blame but yourself? And if somebody is a magician and they're taking advantage of that, you still have nobody to blame but yourself, because the reason why those people have power over you is because you allow them. Okay. If you guys need to reach me for private readings, especially a lot of you witches out there, I have a lot of witches and stuff and spiritualists and people that read cards and people that are readers. They come to me for guidance. The link to my website is below. Make sure that you guys hit that subscribe button, thumbs up, and I'll see you guys for the next tarot lesson of the day. All right. Talk to y'all later. Love, light, and blessings. Bye.